Hi, my name is Mary Mackin, and I am the Mississippi Library Commission's Youth Services Consultant. This is the first in a series of videos that I'm doing on creating age-appropriate story times. And this video in particular is going to be about focusing on planning for babies, so infants under that 1-year age. All right, so the first thing we're going to be looking at is a few relevant developmental milestones. And there are a bunch more than this for each age group. You can find these on the CDC's website. You can also find these on the American Academy of Pediatrics website. But I've just picked out a few that might be relevant to your story times. So when you're thinking of babies who are 2 months old, these are obviously still very young babies. But some things you might want to keep in mind is that they'll smile and react when you speak to them. They'll make sounds other than crying. They'll watch as adults move. So even if you don't think that they're able to participate in a story time, they'll still be tracking you and your movements. They can move both their arms and legs, and they can look at a toy for a few seconds. Now, once they get up to 4 months old, they start making cooing sounds. They can mimic sounds made at them, and I'll show you how to take advantage of that skill when we talk about some different books you can use. They'll grasp and hold toys when they're placed in their hand. They're interested in their hands, which is a great thing to work in when you're doing different songs and movement activities. And they do things to attract adult attention. And this is something that will come into play a lot when you do story times with babies, because you'll incorporate a concept called serve and return, where a child initiates an interaction, does some type of behavior, and then the adult responds in an appropriate way. And this is fantastic to build brain development. And then once they get to about 6 months, they can take turns making sounds with their caregiver. They'll try to mimic those sounds. So again, I'll show you some different books that you can incorporate to help build these skills. They'll make squealing noises and laugh. They recognize familiar people. So if they come to your story time every week, they might start to get excited to see you. They maybe won't be scared anymore. They might recognize friends that come. They love to look at themselves, which again, we'll mention when we talk about different types of books you could use, and some different types of manipulatives you can incorporate. They'll reach for what they want. And then once they get up to 9 months, they start to make those longer sounds like ma, 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 or ba, 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 ba. And again, that's something we can work on during your story time to really help continue to build those skills. They can sit without support, which is good because we'll talk about what a lap story time is, because that's generally best for this age group. But once they hit about 9 months, they can sit in that lap without needing a ton of support. Or if they're not wanting to sit in the lap that day, they might be able to just sit on the floor without support. They can show different emotions with their facial expressions, which is a great thing to incorporate into your story times as well. They're fearful around strangers, so that's kind of one of those things where if they don't know you at first, they might freak out, they might melt down. If there's a bunch of new caregivers they don't know, they might melt down. So that's just something to keep in mind, and not to take it personally, because that is developmentally appropriate. And they enjoy peekaboo, which you can always incorporate. Once they hit 1 year, they will play games like pat-a-cake or peekaboo. They'll call their caregiver by a special name. They can utilize their pincer grasp, which we'll talk about a little bit more when we talk about different types of crafts and activities you can do. They'll put things in a container, which again is a great crafter activity that you could do. And they will look for things that are hidden, which can be incorporated into the books you choose. Maybe you want to do lift the flap books. Maybe you want to use a felt board and objects are hidden. You could even just hide a puppet behind yourself. So this is a good, maybe if you intentionally are targeting babies, or if you have a story time group where you realize, oh, 4 or 5 of the kids who are coming are a year old. So then you can think of some of those things to incorporate. Maybe you're going to let them pick up pom-poms and put them on a craft, or incorporate a lot of lift the flap books. So just some things for you to keep in mind if you want to tailor your story times to this age group. And again, these are just a few of those developmental milestones. You can find more of them on the CDC's website or the American Academy of Pediatrics website. So the next thing we're going to talk about is just a few things that you need to keep in mind. So the first thing is, as we looked at those developmental milestones, babies change drastically over the first year of their life. So what you're planning for a 4-month-old and how they're interacting and behaving at your story time is going to be drastically different than what you're planning for a 1-year-old and how they're behaving and interacting at your story time. And typically, lap story times are going to be best for this age group. So that's where you have the caregiver, they have the child in their lap. If the child is able to sit unassisted, then they can just sit in their lap normally like this. If they're maybe 4 months old, too young, then the caregiver can either support them or they could even cradle them like this. And those are all things that you can incorporate. And during this story time in particular, really emphasize the relationship between children and their caregivers, because both the American Academy of Pediatrics and the CDC heavily emphasize the importance of the caregiver and child relationship on brain development. So story time is a great way not only to give children and their caregivers an opportunity to practice this, but also a way to model appropriate child caregiver interactions to their caregivers and give them ideas they can try at home. You know, maybe they haven't thought of certain songs you could do. Maybe they didn't realize they could read to their baby. So let's talk a little bit about choosing books for babies. So when you're picking your books for babies, there's a few criteria that should be prioritized. And then on the next slide, I'll have a couple of my favorite examples that I found. The first thing is books that have simple illustrations. So you want illustrations that are bright and happy, but aren't too complicated or chaotic. And then you also want books that are high contrast, especially if you are targeting babies that are pretty young, because it can help support development, and it's also a lot easier for those younger babies to see. And you also want to focus on books that have no more than a couple of lines of text per page. And board books usually meet a lot of these criteria, but something to keep in mind is the size, because they tend to be smaller. For example, one of the books I have on the next slide, I love this book. I think it's fabulous, but it is smaller. So if you're going to have a really large story time, like 30, 40 people, realistically, not everybody is going to be able to see this. But again, that's a case-by-case basis. You might have a small enough group where everybody can see it fantastically. So a few of my favorite books that I found for babies. The first one, and this kind of is a recurring theme. I think I have maybe 1 or 2 that incorporate this for babies, is this book by Sandra Boynton. Her books are great for babies. It's a board book, but it's a large board book, so everybody should be able to see it. And it focuses on animal sounds. So if you remember from our developmental slide, babies start to be able to mimic the sounds that their caregivers make. And so animal sounds are one of the first ways that babies do this. So this is a great way where you can read, you know, a cow says moo, the pigs say oink, and you could even pause as you get to each animal sound and have the children and their caregivers repeat it. This is a great way to build that language development. The next book that I have for babies is Do Crocs Kiss? And this book is great because it's a lift the flap book. So not necessarily things are hiding that you're looking for specifically, but you're kind of answering a question. You know, they go growl. They make those animal sounds. You can say to the babies and their caregivers, can you growl? And they love the kind of stories that are interactive. The next one on here that I utilized during our last Storytime webinar is All of Baby Nose to Toes. In the way that babies really enjoy looking at themselves, they also love looking at other babies. So any type of book you can incorporate where they can look at other babies, you know, their body parts, their emotions, maybe they're playing outside, going to the beach, anything like that tends to be a hit. Clip Clop is another one we did last time that's great for lap story time because you can do a lap bounce. Another one that I chose for the books for baby slide, but honestly it works really well for any age group, are books that are also songs. So Five Little Ducks is going to be a song that is going to be probably very familiar to children and their caregivers. So then they can participate, they can sing along. And then the last one I have is an example of a high contrast book. So when a book is high contrast, that means it's in black and white, sometimes with a little bit of red. And so what this book is, it's very, very simple, only 1 or 2 lines of text per page. It is a board book, so this is again one where you would have to decide based on the size of your group. But it's also, because it's that black and white, that means even the youngest babies in your group should be able to see it. And what about crafts and activities for babies? Because the reality is most babies are going to lack the fine motor skills to do a craft beyond basic exploratory activities, like we're finger painting, or maybe we're playing with slime, or we're sticking our hand in something. And that's totally okay. It should just be exploratory at this age. You can do some cute things where maybe like you put paint on their hands and you put it down on the paper. But the reality is that's going to be very caregiver led. So try to incorporate some opportunities for the babies to explore on their own. And if you remember from the developmental milestones slide, babies 9 months and up will begin to use their pincer grasp. So this could be incorporated into crafts or activities. Like maybe you're going to make a bumblebee and you have pom-poms and you have the caregiver put glue dots as the child is picking up pom-poms and placing them on the bumblebee. Something like that is a great way to practice that pincer grasp. And then with this age group, you could even just try setting out themed sensory bins. Just be careful about choking hazards, avoid water beads, or you could even just set out developmentally appropriate toys. If you choose to do these though, I would suggest that you don't set these out until you're completely done with your story time, because at this age, really at any age, they're not going to be able to resist a toy. And as far as choosing songs and dances for babies, lap bounces will probably work best for babies. If you're looking for more examples of these, there are some great ones online. I have a bunch of favorite resources that I've found, so feel free to shoot me an email. My email will be on that last slide, but it's essentially where, as it sounds, the child is going to be in their caregiver's lap, and they might bounce them along, like clip-clop, they're bouncing them like they're on a horse. They'll bounce them up and down, maybe sway them from side to side. So it's very much caregiver led. And it's also, so that's a great way to provide an opportunity for child and caregiver interaction. And you can also tailor it to fit the baby's age on their own. Maybe you have really little children. So maybe they're, for example, if you do Rockabye Baby or something, you could have younger children, they might need to be held like this and the caregivers could sway them. Older children might still want to sit in the lap, so then they could kind of rock them back and forth. And you can also utilize simple caregiver-led finger plays. So just very simple, like Itsy Bitsy Spider, and the caregiver can kind of manipulate the child's hands, or if they don't want that, or maybe they're just not in the mood, they can always kind of do it in front of them and model that behavior. And older babies may want to give it a try themselves and copy and watch what you're doing and attempt to replicate it. All right, so that is the end of our first webinar. Pretty short and sweet, but I kind of just wanted to hit the highlights to help you get started. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. My email should be up on this slide, or feel free to give me a call and we can brainstorm some ideas. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
The video you have just viewed is an MLC production, made possible in part with funding from the Institute of Museum and Library Services. We encourage you to visit our YouTube channel and our LibGuides for further resources and supporting content.